Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your #1 source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
Band from Ringside.
Tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast, controversy going into WrestleMania 40 regarding The Rock, Cody Rhodes, and Roman Reigns. We got a triple threat at the next AEW pay-per-view with Samoa Joe, Hangman Page, and Swerve Strickland. Your NXT Vengeance recap, that, and a whole bunch more tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast. Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Mark. So welcome to the Band from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Val Venus-Tine's Day. And out there in Portland, Oregon, we have Two Beer Zach Pullman. What's going on, Two Beer Zach?
Oh, man, just like I told you whenever you called me, I'm super worked up. I feel like I need a cigarette. I'm riding a high that I feel like only pro wrestling can give me. It just pings all the dopamine receptors, and whenever wrestling's good, there's nothing better. And goddamn it was really good this week.
Yeah, it was really good this week. No Jason Cornelius Bell. He's got some shit going on, so we will eagerly await his thoughts on this Rock situation next week. I don't know. It feels like this is 2 podcasts in a row when there was big Rock news where Jason didn't show up, and Jason is the biggest Rock fan I know, so there's only one thing you can call it.
Unprofessional bullshit.
Vice might be showing up here later, so it's just me and Zach tonight. For the most part, I'm sitting here in beautiful St. Charles, Missouri. He's out there in Portland, Oregon. Just a couple of single dads. Had to start this late because a couple Dad of the Year contenders taking care while their women are out partying, gallivanting.
Wouldn't it be funny if Jason was The Rock and he just had a belt buckle that he just twisted and he turned into Rocky Maivia? That's why he's not here.
We just got done with the presser, so obviously, it has been I feel like I can get hyperbolic on here sometimes. I know that I'm guilty of it, and I will own it, but I've always said that I'm such a big wrestling fan because it's the strangest thing that exists in pop culture and American culture. There's just really nothing like it. And the shit that went down this week, just a fascinating week of professional wrestling. The shit that went down with The Rock and Cody, there's no way that you could make anybody who's not a wrestling fan make sense of this. There's no way that they could understand how or why it happened and why it's such a big deal. But that's what Zach and I are here to do. So without further ado, let's get to that 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, so we're going to start Friday night. Friday Night SmackDown, one day after we record the last podcast. And, we could have done a podcast on Saturday morning about the segment that happened Friday night. And then we could have done a podcast on Tuesday morning after Raw. But luckily, we're doing it right now, which is just after the WrestleMania 40 presser that took place in Las Vegas. But let's do this in order. So Friday night, at the last segment of SmackDown, Roman Reigns comes down. Cody Rhodes' music plays. Cody Rhodes comes down to seemingly, announce his intentions to face Roman Reigns in the main event at WrestleMania 40 as the Royal Rumble winner, which is his right. Cody kind of gives a speech saying that while he wants to finish his story and while he wants to take the belt away from Roman, what he really wants to do is take everything away from Roman. And he said that he sought counsel. And I'm paraphrasing all this, obviously. It took a few minutes, but he said he sought counsel. Rock's music plays. The Rock comes down and hugs Cody, says something in Cody's ear, and then SmackDown goes off the air with The Rock and Roman Reigns staring each other down.
You know what's hilarious?
Yeah.
You described that in about 45 seconds. That took 25 minutes.
Yes, I mean, and 20 of it was Roman's entrance. I mean, let's be honest.
Seriously, I'm not even exaggerating. That was 25 minutes of television, like between all the entrances and just the staring.
That's pretty much it, though, right? I mean, I don't think I forgot anything.
No, not at all.
It seemed to me that something happened on SmackDown. I got a text from Jinder Mahal. I saw that friend of the show, Michael Wallace Seals, said something on Friends of BFR on Facebook, and I saw that, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to avoid this because I know tomorrow morning I'm going to be able to watch it while I'm making pancakes and doing whatever fucking Dad of the Year shit that I'm doing. And I watch it, and my initial thought was, this is where we were always going. The Rock came out a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago before the Royal Rumble and said, mentioned that head of the table thing in his promo, and I just thought this is where we were going. I thought that it was strange that Cody came out to basically hand over his WrestleMania main event slot to The Rock, but maybe in their mind they were thinking, well, this is a way that fans won't turn on it because it's Cody in kayfabe doing it for The Rock. Boy, was I wrong. I did not see this reaction coming. I'll be completely honest. People were pissed. The Rock started getting booed. Memes started going around about how The Rock is stealing this from him, about how let Cody finish his story, all these hashtags. People were pissed about this.
Dude, the Grammys were on, and "We Want Cody" was the number one hashtag.
It's unbelievable. Monday night, I'm going to get your thoughts on it here in a second, Zach. I just want to say that Monday night, I had to tune in to the first segment because I figured Cody was going to be on it. Cody came out, got a massive ovation, and any mention of The Rock's name was getting booed. I noticed that Michael Cole was kind of playing into The Rock getting booed. They were playing into people wanting the Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns match that they were seemingly promised. Zach, what were your thoughts on this? When did you watch SmackDown, and were you as surprised as I was at the backlash?
I watched SmackDown on Saturday also. I don't ever watch it live. I always just forget. It's like Friday, and then I get off work, and I'm just fucking not doing that. But it's like my Saturday morning ritual. I watch SmackDown, I listen to Observer Radio, and just, do dishes and shit, and do laundry. But anyway, enough of Dad of the Year shit. But we are, I watched it then, and I commented on that post on Friends of BFR, and I was like, dude, I really hope this is a work because I am getting worked up, and I love it because they got me fully invested in this because I was just so against it, right? Like, WWE lately has been very good. They have built up a lot of good faith, but almost my entire life before that, they had no goodwill. So it is very difficult. It's almost like Stockholm Syndrome, where maybe that's a bad analogy given like all the fucking recent like actual real world shit with Vince, but like it's almost like this like bad relationship that you're in where like they show you glimpses of how great it could be, but then they often remind you that that's just not how it is. But it's been better, and this seemed like something that we would have seen a few years ago that was tone deaf, and they're just bringing in The Rock, who is only coming back because Hollywood has kind of turned on him. He's not like Hollywood's darling like he once was. He failed with the DC universe, and like he's just really had some like he's really taken some lumps for being this huge megastar multimillionaire. So he's going to go back and he's going to do the thing for sure that's going to get him cheered. And it was just seemed very tone deaf. And I do not think that they were expecting. I did not think at the time that they were expecting that reaction. So that was kind of like my thought process. And then Monday it was St. Louis Raw, which I did not realize, but
I did not know until I was watching it that it was in town.
Yeah. St. Louis did me proud with the "We Want Cody" and the "Rocky Sucks." Like Michael Cole's even like, "What is this, 1996?" Because like that's really like for people who were not watching then, Rocky Maivia was like a baby face that the crowd hated because he was getting shoved down our throats. And then he wasn't popular, so he became a heel. So there was a lot of Rocky Sucks chants. There was even Die Rocky Die chants, unfortunately. I'm glad we didn't bring those back. But anyway, I was invested fully in this, thinking that this was absolute bullshit and that Cody Rhodes is like the unluckiest like superstar in the world. That's where I was at Monday with this.
So there is so many ways, so many angles to attack this story from, because you and I saw it completely different. You saw it. It seems like you saw it for how it actually played out. I am still completely thrown off by it a little bit, just because The Rock's popularity has never waned. I mean, he in every appearance that he's had on WWE television last year, I think there's been 2, but they were both surprises, and they happened on even SmackDown. I mean, there was a huge pop, but I mean, people pop when they hear Rock's music. But his popularity has never waned. There is already a story there with The Rock and Roman Reigns, them being from the same family, which they played into fucking brilliantly at the presser. Just brilliantly. They couldn't have done it better, I say, as I watched it about an hour ago. But I just thought that, because I really do think that Rock versus Roman, like my thoughts are right there on the Facebook page. I posted it, so I can't lie about this. Like, my thoughts were, this is the only decision WWE can make. Rock versus Roman. Roman's been champion for 1,000 days or something, and The Rock is one of their biggest stars of all time, and he is certainly the biggest crossover star that they've ever had, by far and away. It's not even close. So I did not expect the crowd to turn on it like this. Now, at the time when I posted that, and Zach brought this up on Facebook on the conversation, you said, yeah, but why'd they have Cody win the Rumble? And it's like, oh, yeah. Why did they have Cody win the Rumble? Do you think that there's any possibility, Zach, that this is planned by WWE?
I will give them, I'd say, 30% chance that they planned the entire thing. I think it's more likely that they brilliantly pivoted with that backlash. I think that nobody would expect, because Rock and Roman is the biggest match that you can make, I do not think that anyone expected the fans to turn on it so, and I think they put Cody out there to give it to him exactly like you said, because, well, they're like, if Cody's okay with it, then we're okay with it. Let's watch Rock versus Roman.
Yes.
But the fans were like, fuck no, this is 2024. We've been watching this dude his entire career. He left, he changed the wrestling world, and then he came back, and he's been the biggest babyface in the company. He's been the biggest star in the company. And to steal a line from him at the press conference, because I don't want to jump ahead, he's like, you guys might have been sitting at the head of the table for the last 2 years, but you haven't done any of the cooking.
It's a good line. It's a good line.
It was a great line. And I think the fans recognize that. But I will give them a bit of a doubt. I think it's like 30-70. And if they did do it, this was like the absolute brilliant. It was a brilliant move. And they really did do a fantastic job of what Vince had been trying to do for a long time and failing, which was create a Daniel Bryan movement. And they absolutely did it. This is like, we want Cody as the new Yes movement. And he's just the purest babyface they've had in a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing something that Vince never would have done, which is pivot. Vince would have rode it until he had no other choice.
Yep.
And
he's like Principal Skinner. He's like, it's not me, it's the kids who are wrong.
Right. And they have leaned into it, I would say. I was surprised that Michael Cole was bringing it up on Monday night. It was strange to me. I was like, and that's probably part of the syndrome that you were talking about earlier, the Stockholm syndrome or whatever. It's like, I expected them to just try to hammer their way through it. And to their credit,
gaslight us.
And to their credit, they're not doing it. They're going with it. So I mean, there's so much to say. So let's get to the presser, and then we'll talk about it. Because it's a podcast and we talk about wrestling. But so at the presser tonight, which just happened, Rollins comes out first. Roman comes out. They have some banter back and forth. It's like, wait a minute, are they going to pivot to these guys facing each other at WrestleMania? Like, it looks like they're in a legit feud with each other. And when I say legit, I don't mean shoot. I mean, it looks like they're booking them in a feud together. Roman comes out, talks some shit. He says, you guys don't get to, WWE doesn't get to choose. I get to choose. I choose The Rock. The Rock comes out, and I don't know. I was paying very close attention to how The Rock received those boos, because his name was booed the entire night, even in the pre-show with Michael Cole and Pat McAfee and Punk and Big E. His name was getting booed, and they booed him. And they booed him pretty good. What did you think about Rock's reactions to getting booed?
Man, whenever I was into the banter between Seth and Roman, because you could tell that there wasn't like a full script going on, so there was some reality in there. There was, some improv going on.
Well, when Roman Reigns mentioned Seth Rollins on SmackDown, there was no reaction at all, and Roman Reigns goes, "That's what I thought." No pop.
Yeah, dude buried him,
and it obviously stuck in Seth's craw. I mean, he's brought it up like 4 times already.
Oh yeah. Like St. Louis, he came out in St. Louis, like, I'd call that a pop, and then he was really getting in. But yeah, I was into that, and then The Rock came out, and that's whenever I texted you guys in the group chat, because I had not seen it yet. I was watching about half an hour delay, and I was like, this is fascinating.
Yes,
because it reminded me of Hogan Rock, like whenever they just started listening to the crowd and they did the double turn during the match. It was like he was listening to see which direction they were going to go, and he was going to lean into it either way.
Also a situation where The Rock unexpectedly got booed.
Yep. And they pivoted and they leaned into it and ended up being great.
So let's talk about The Rock at this presser, because he was fucking on one. Like, it's the best acting of his career. He was fucking great in this presser. He was kind of seething, but still trying to look cool. And then he goes, "I know you might not want to see it. You might hate it, but you will respect it." And then he showed, and then on the big screen behind him is the entire family tree. And it said
did Drew Gulak help you with this promo?
And it says the bloodline underneath it, and it's got 60 names on it, right? And Rock talks about how his grandpa and Roman's grandpa made a blood oath with each other. Basically, I guess the implication was the blood oath was, we are going to run wrestling. We are going to be a wrestling family. And he goes, this is our family. And this is the truth, that this is what they saw or whatever. What did you think about the family tree coming out?
That was unexpected. That was definitely the weirdest part of the whole thing. There was a lot of strangeness to this, because, as you mentioned very adroitly, because it's the same reason I love wrestling, there is nothing stranger in pop culture. So there was a lot of strangeness and a lot to unpack here, but I did not expect a PowerPoint presentation of a family tree. And Rock, the one thing I loved about it was whenever he presented it as the royal family of wrestling. And I was like, man, if there's ever been a fucking cue to drop, the music, that was it. But they didn't do the music. Cody
cuts in, says, hold on a second, comes up and starts, saying it's his right to pick to pick the championship that he wants to challenge for at WrestleMania. And he's standing up there. So Seth's kind of the forgotten man, but he's still on stage. So I'm going to come back to that, because I think that's important. By the way, you also see Rock and Seth on stage together, which you haven't really thought about, I've never really thought about The Rock's relationship to Seth Rollins. But it was also cool to see them standing up there together. But Cody mentions the line that Zach said before about you're at the head of the table, but neither one of you has done the cooking. Roman says you're going to be irrelevant just like your dad, and then so he invokes Cody's father, and then Cody talks about how Roman's ancestors would be ashamed, and that's when The Rock steps in, and The Rock says when you're talking about his family, you're talking about my family. When you're talking about his ancestors, you're talking about my ancestors, and he grits his teeth and pounds his chest, and I was like, oh fuck, that's good shit. And it was believable, and then Rock said to Cody, and now we have a problem. Rock smacks Cody across the face. People start breaking it up. Tremendous shit. Seth.
Oh, and I mean, besides the Triple H and Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis and Paul Heyman are all like the peanut gallery in the back,
yes.
And they all did a fantastic job of like, this seemed very real. If you were not a wrestling fan and you just tuned in with this, you would think you were watching like an MMA presser or something, because you're like, holy shit, these guys fucking hate each other.
Yes. Seth comes to Cody's aid. It's kind of like, fuck you. And then I was like, hold on a second. Are we going to get a tag team match at Elimination Chamber between Cody and Seth and The Rock and Roman? Because sign me the fuck up for that, dude. I still don't know where we're going. If I had to guess, I would say that we're going towards a triple threat match at WrestleMania between Cody, The Rock, and Roman. There's 9 weeks left before WrestleMania. Lots of story left to tell, and they are putting there's a lot of meat on the bone, and that's a credit to WWE. What do you think we're getting at WrestleMania?
I think we're doing the triple threat. Somebody pointed out online that triple threats tend to happen on the WrestleManias where there's 10s, like 10, 20, 30, 40. So that's kind of a fun tradition, especially because they made it kind of like really work. I wasn't watching for 30 or 20, so I don't remember those scenarios. I don't know how organically that came about, but
so 20 was HBK, Triple H, and Benoit, and that was when
the match. I didn't watch the build.
Yeah, the thing was basically the same thing with Daniel Bryan, that Benoit and Guerrero were good, but they were B-plus players, and both of them walked away with the belts at WrestleMania 20. WrestleMania 30 was Yes Mania. Is The Rock going to find another match before WrestleMania?
I was going to say no until tonight, and man, they really made it look like there was going to be a tag. And I'm with you. I love Seth kind of coming to Cody's aid. I'm like, it reminded me of like some like anime shit that I would watch where like people are like really like rivals and they fight so many times that eventually they team up against the big bad, and like go on the babyface side against the villain. It was super fun, and Seth looked great because he, like you said, he was like the fourth man. It's there for a minute because he was the first out. It was kind of like he was the guy that thought it was going to be a good idea to involve his wife in like a threesome, but then like once like they got into the room, like she was just more into everybody else, and he was just kind of off to the side, and he's like, oh fuck. But like he ended up really coming out like smelling like roses in the end because he was super scrappy. He was really, he was getting in The Rock's face. Like he was very believable with the cursing. He was saying, I don't give a shit that you're on the board. You can't just walk in here whenever you want to. We're here every day. Just like that's believable shit because that sounds like the Seth Rollins that we've seen for a long time. That's very believable. That's more believable than big time Seth or whatever, with the dancing and the funny clothes and stuff. It's a fun character, but the Seth Rollins we know is a very proud guy. He's very proud of his talents, and he should be because he's awesome. And he's just he came across looking good. Cody came across looking great. The Rock was the best we've seen him in a very long time. This is like next level Rock shit. Roman came out worse than before. He looked like the Rock's like lapdog. Like, Rock totally outshined him. And you know what's funny is that could also be intentional if we're going to lean into this and eventually Roman turns babyface on The Rock and we get Rock Roman WrestleMania 41. Anyway, I'm getting too far ahead of myself.
Oh, so I mean, I guess that's a good point. They could just push back Rock Roman till next year. You know, they can still get that match, and that means they still got one in their back pocket that they haven't used yet. Like, this is kind of
like a singles match.
Yeah, because this is like because a singles match is different than a triple threat match for reasons I shouldn't have to explain. But but yeah, I mean, this is, if you look at it that way, then this one's kind of a freebie.
Yeah, it is fascinating because you can go any different direction, and also we have to notice, like, so it's like we are 5 weeks into 2024. These are the things that have happened. Vince McMahon is no longer with WWE. He's embroiled in maybe the worst sex scandal that we've heard a public figure to have in the United States of America. The guy who started Stardom, Rossy Ogawa. Rossy Ogawa is out of Stardom. He's forming a new women's promotion in Japan. CM Punk is back in WWE, did some promos and is injured again in his first match.
Dude, seeing CM Punk in a suit.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like on the kickoff show or whatever, it's like he thought he was Fugazi. He's fucking Green Day, man. Like, get the fuck out of here. You ain't no fucking, you ain't no Punk, dude. You're not anti-establishment. You're wearing a suit. They paid you more. You couldn't keep a job at the other place. They paid you more, and now they got you up there in a fucking monkey suit doing the pregame for the presser. You fucking bitch.
But like, this is the fact that Punk was on commentary for this.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm burying the lead.
all of these things like are just insane. But and so they're in T-Mobile Arena, and that commentary team has live mics that are going to the entire arena. So afterwards, when they're commenting on this, CM Punk is commenting, and The Rock can hear him, and you can see him like staring daggers at him in the background. He's like, "I want to see Cody Rhodes smack The Rock in the mouth," and The Rock standing there looking at CM Punk like, "You son of a bitch," and like he's like saying shit like, he's like, "Your boss just put hands on you." He's like, "I'm throwing hands." He's like, "We should let people fight. It's good conflict resolution." I'm like, "Oh my God, all this stuff's so meta." Like, fucking ridiculous. But anyway, it was so surreal, and they split up, and then they had the thing in the back, which was probably the most fascinating of the entire thing, was the Triple H giving a very real seeming interview in the back, where he starts out by saying people are going into business for themselves, and he seems very perplexed and kind of, we got to figure this stuff out. And, tensions are high. And then Rock and Roman come up in the background, and Rock starts big time in Triple H, saying, "You better fix this." Or I think he said, because they were bleeping it out, I think he said, "You better fix this or I'm going to fire you." And he said, "You're lucky the cameras are here."
That's what they beeped out?
I thought that he either said, "I'm going to knock his fucking teeth out," or "I'm going to fire you."
Oh, oh my God. That's even better than anything I could have imagined.
I know.
Just the fact, if that's what he said and they bleeped it, that is so smart. It's like so fucking smart. Oh, fuck. That made me forget what I was going to say. I texted Jinder Mahal tonight. So, Cody is he's the spark plug here. He's the catalyst for all this shit. So, I texted this to Joey tonight. I was like, in Cody's wildest dreams, when he was in WWE the first time, and he quit to go out on his own, he did a world tour, he fought in Rev Pro, he fought in New Japan, he fought in Ring of Honor, he just went everywhere.
We met him
in
the Belleville Fairgrounds.
Yeah, who did he wrestle?
We met him. He wrestled Michael Elgin. He was ROH champion, and he wrestled Michael Elgin. And then we talked with him and met him and took the picture with him that's on our Twitter and stuff.
Yeah, and we met
Dijak. Anyway.
Dijak, wasn't it Dijak Ishimori? Or not Ishimori.
Marufuji.
Yeah, Marufuji.
Good show. Good indie show.
Yeah, so Cody leaves WWE. He goes on his world tour. He fights in Belleville. That was probably the highlight. Goes and starts a new company. Completely disrupts the entire space, so to speak, and basically creates what seemed to be at the time a legit contender for to WWE. They were never going to make as much money as WWE, but creatively they were better. And there was no doubt. And they were definitely the top dog, at least in my estimation, for a long time. I don't know if you can say that anymore. People might call me an AEW mark for even giving AEW a chance now, but I'm an AEW mark. But do you think that in Cody's wildest dreams, after he starts a new promotion, he comes back to WWE, and then in WrestleMania 40, he's a 2-time Royal Rumble winner, as over as he could be in his life, and in WrestleMania 40, they make The Rock Roman, and it has to get stopped because Cody is too over? Like, in his wildest dreams, could this have gone any better?
Also, remember when he had to, basically play as a heel because, the fans were turning on him in AEW? It
is such an ascension that if you put it in a movie, it would seem too fake, actually.
It actually would.
It's happened so slowly, but this is really he's never been hotter.
No, I mean, there's very few people in the history of wrestling who have been. I mean, as far as modern wrestling, I mean, you can count on one hand the number of people who have been this hot.
And now they're going to have to change Rock Roman because of it. So I'm guessing your answer is no. He could not have imagined it going any better. I don't even know what it would be.
I wonder if you just be like, yeah, this is exactly what I planned.
Well, then, good for him, man. What confidence. Yeah. So I think we're in agreement. I am very excited for the road to WrestleMania. This is extremely exciting. Where you at on it?
Absolutely. I mean, just look at this. I went from earlier this weekend to being oh, Jesus, really letting it affect me to think that, my favorite, pastime, my favorite hobby, it's already being lamented because of the Vince stuff. It's got the shadow cast over it. And then I'm well, now it's not even as good as it could be, and now it's even better to the point where I've basically been sucking its dick for half an hour talking with you.
Yeah, I know. What a yo-yo. This is why we do it though. This is fucking fun, man. So strange.
It is absolutely wild. This just the past 1 week has been, and this is just one story in one company. There's been a lot of other good shit, but this is by far. This is better than the Bloodline, the Sami Zayn stuff. And I thought that was the best storyline WWE's had in years. This trumps it if they execute it well. Right now it's at its peak. It needs denouement and resolution. But right now we are at peak WrestleMania season, and it's some of the best it's ever been.
No doubt. All right. Well, that's going to do it. Let's get to that 2 count.
1, 2, 3.
2 beer. What's the 2 count?
All right. 2 count. We're going to talk about Cody Rhodes for 45 more minutes. No, we can switch gears, do my usual bit here. Rampage was skippable. I'm not even going to mention anything on there. It did set up some stuff for later in the week, but and not that it wasn't fun or anything. It was just totally skippable. There's so much other shit we can talk about. Eddie Kingston versus Brian Keith opened Collision. Collision was a good show and might have been the best show of the week if we wouldn't have had a fucking amazing Dynamite. So that's one thing that I think we think about with the dichotomy of WWE and AEW. AEW is always going to have very good wrestling, and sometimes it's going to have really good stories. And WWE is just always going to have those larger than life characters and the big entrances and like the bigger stars. And I feel like it's kind of like just different flavors, but like there is never a week where you don't see really, really good wrestling matches on AEW. And we opened with Brian Keith versus Eddie Kingston. This was kind of like the story of a lot of these matches that have been kind of talking about, the last few weeks. We've seen kind of top guys like Kingston wrestling newer guys or guys who are, in the lower card or mid card and giving them a lot but then beating them. And the story of this was very similar, but to cap it all off, they announced that the bounty hunter Brian Keith is all elite. So,
where you at on Brian Keith?
I did not know him before I started seeing him in AEW, and I've been impressed with his work. I haven't heard him talk or anything like that, but he's a solid worker, pretty fun gimmick.
The bounty hunter's a cool name.
It is. I think I would like to see we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but maybe like a heel Adam Page with the Hangman and like the bounty hunter Brian Keith, and they do like this like Western cowboy thing.
Look at this guy. Give this guy a fucking pencil.
Get him next to a top guy like Adam Page, and get Page away from the Bucks and Kenny while Kenny's out. I think that could be fun.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, he's cool. Good for him. Congratulations to Brian Keith.
Yeah, good for him. Got a solid gig now. Then we had a match that I didn't know that I needed. It was Bryan Danielson versus Hechicero, which I will watch CMLL occasionally. Not often. I don't have a lot of time for that, but CMLL Friday night. It's on YouTube. Pretty fun show. But this Hechicero, man, he is really good at the things that he does. It was just a lot of mat wrestling. This was like, I don't know, 4.5-star match on a random Saturday night.
Yeah, I'm a Hechicero mark. He's basically my favorite wrestler now. This match was fucking ruled, man. My Mount Rushmore is Kevin Owens, Matt Menard, Hechicero, and Vikingo.
I was just gonna say you got to see him. We skipped over Rampage where your favorite wrestlers wrestled in a mixed tag.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Yeah. I don't remember if they were in the ring together or not, but yeah, he's really good. And yeah, no doubt that Danielson's on this thing where he's like, all right, like I'm gonna wrestle, but I'm only gonna wrestle the dudes that I want to wrestle now, and I think that's a great gimmick.
Yeah, I think it's kind of weird because Claudio came out. They're Blackpool Combat Club is also acting heelish in this whole thing. Like the luchadors are jumping them, but Blackpool Combat Club is definitely they won with a low blow last night. So they're definitely acting like heels.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
and
I could watch. Yeah, this match. This was incredible.
Yeah, that did set up a 6-man on Wednesday, which we'll chat about. Hook beat a couple jobbers and the Outrunners. Queen Aminata had there was 2 women's matches on Collision, something you don't ever see on Dynamite. At least I feel like there was 2. Yeah, Queen Aminata versus Serena Deeb. This was a pretty good match. Queen Aminata is one of those. I don't know who to compare her to in the women's division, but in the men's division, she's very much like a not the same kind of wrestler, but what's his name that runs the ropes?
Commander.
Oh God. Commander. He's like a commander. He's going to go out there. He's going to lose every time, but he's going to have a good match. She doesn't wrestle the same, but she's out there. I haven't seen her win yet, but she's been having really good matches on TV.
She is on TV a lot.
Yeah. She needs to get some wins. Have her Like, she's like jobber to the stars right now, but just like heat her up a little bit.
They like her. She never gets squashed.
That's the thing is, like, Tony has guys and girls that, like, he really likes, so he puts out there to have them get beat all the time, but he wants them on TV because he really likes them. But then he has people that he doesn't really ever want to lose that don't really do jobs, and he just needs to maybe switch that up, like, a little bit more.
Yes.
I think that's one thing. I mean, that's a valid criticism. That's not like...
That's an astute observation. That's true.
Yeah, it's not hyperbolic. It's not Tony's a bad booker. It's like he's got some patterns, and he can switch those up and surprise us every now and then. And then, there was a Red Velvet match, basically to heat her up a little bit before her match on Dynamite versus Toni Storm. And then we had, just like every Collision, I see it every week. You're going to get some good wrestling. You're going to get some surprises, maybe, but you're going to get FTR in the main event for probably 20 plus minutes. And that was no different here. Patriarchy versus FT Garcia. And this was awesome. What a fun match. Just kind of all over the place. Dale Garcia gets the win over Nick Wayne. I mean, there was a lot going on in here, but I thought it was a lot of fun. I like, kind of fun party 6-man tag. So.
Oh, yeah, this was a party match, and Daniel Garcia fucking partied, and so did FTR. Like, they were all doing the dance at the end and shit. It was, I think the entrances started with a half hour left in the show, and I was like, God damn, they are going to give these guys tons of fucking time. And they did. I mean, take out commercials. It was longer than the Everybody Loves Raymond episode. That's how I judge time.
You're like, yeah, it was oh man, we were in traffic forever, like 3.5 Raymonds.
How long does it take for you to get up to Chicago? Like a good 13 Raymonds.
Yeah, like season 1, like.
But yeah, this match was incredible. We are spoiled fucking rotten.
I think you just came up with a great gimmick for a pro wrestler, which is just charismatic guy who measures things in weird quantities. That would get over.
It's like, it's not the 3 count. It's like 20, 40, 60.
Yeah. Oh, shit. All right.
I'll work with it.
Overall, Saturday was a fun show, and it was one that I didn't get to watch until Monday. I've been playing way too much Persona. I've put in like 25 hours in the past 4 days of this video game, and so it's been hard to watch wrestling.
Jesus Christ.
I know, I haven't been sleeping much. Been having a lot of fun.
Wow. What's it on?
This is insane. So it's on Game Pass, and that's why I want to finish it before it leaves Game Pass. I don't know how.
I don't even know what that means.
What's going on here?
It's like Netflix for Xbox. Like there's just a shitload of games on there, but like they're only licensed for so much time. Some of them are on there all the time, just like Netflix. Some of them are only on there for a month or a few weeks or whatever.
I didn't know that this was even a thing. That shows how out of touch I am.
I don't really buy video games all that much. I just play what's on there. But
so you only squeezed in 15 hours of wrestling this week, huh?
Yep. You're gonna love the description of this video game. It is a Japanese RPG where you're basically like anime characters that enter into a procedurally generated dungeon with 250 levels where you fight monsters and basically utilize your their weaknesses, like elemental weaknesses. And in doing so, you fight them by generating a persona from your own body, which is just this like giant thing that comes out of your body. And the way that you evoke your persona is you shoot yourself in the fucking head and just blow your brains out. The persona comes out and you fight these monsters with it. And that's half the game. and the other half of the game is that you're a high school kid and you have to maintain all of your social relationships.
What?
This is a joke.
And the social relationships
bullshit.
and the social relationships make your persona stronger. It's so good. Anyway, it takes like 100 hours to beat. It's so good.
Sounds like you're working something out.
So you watched that instead of CMLL this week?
I did, yeah.
Unprofessional bullshit.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I just had to say because it's probably going to blow your mind because you're like, I don't even know what Game Pass is, and now this guy's talking about this. It's the wackiest thing. Like, you think pro wrestling's hard to explain to like, I'm really into this thing? That's way harder.
I kind of want to try it.
Right. Anyway, so AEW Dynamite, this was...
it sounds like Altered Beast.
Kind of. If Altered Beast was about horny teenagers.
Isn't everything?
That's what it boils down to. But AEW Dynamite, not quite a pay-per-view, but not far from it. I mean, overall, this card looked great on paper, and man, it delivered. We had an opening match, which was Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page, and it is like this match was brilliant. I will not talk as much about Adam Page as we did Cody Rhodes, but this was a man who knew his job and who played his position perfectly. He even started it a couple weeks ago when he started growing out this thick mustache, and he walked out there with a sour look on his face, and he worked heel this entire match. He knew that the crowd was behind Swerve. They read the audience. They absolutely leaned into it. And, I mean, Hangman Page was the ultimate babyface in AEW for a long time, and he hasn't really turned. But he went out there and he played his part. They had a phenomenal match. It did pretty much exactly what I thought, which was I figured it was going to go to a draw because I figured we were going to go to a three-way at the pay-per-view. But I loved the way that it happened. We can talk about all the physicality and stuff in the match. It was just really great. I mean, Deadeye through a table, and that was Swerve giving Hangman a Deadeye off the table, or off the apron on through a table, all kinds of shit. Near falls everywhere. But then Swerve just does the babyface thing, which is 5 more minutes. And Hangman Page's response was perfect. He was like, you had to beat me to face Joe at Revolution and be the number one contender. You didn't beat me. It's over for you. And he walks out. And of course, like Tony Schiavone says, no, it's not over. We're getting a three-way Revolution. Crowd pops. Although they kind of wanted to see it finish tonight, so they didn't pop like huge because they wanted to see it finish.
Yeah.
And but then Page does this phenomenal sell job on the apron where he's like, no, like he was just full heel, whiny heel mode. Like, I loved it. God, I'm such a Hangman Page fan. But Swerve is they're striking while the iron's hot with him. I thought this was a fantastic opener. It was a perfectly logical storytelling, really well done by all parties.
I think this was probably my favorite of their 3 matches. Like, I think I like this more than the blood drinking match. I was way into this. This fucking ruled. I was not even thinking about the draw. They weren't saying like 5 minutes remaining or anything, were they?
I think they called the 25-minute mark. Yeah.
Oh,
that was the only one.
I think I missed it. I did not see it coming, and I was like, oh, they're going to this again? But if it ends up with the Vegas special at Revolution, the triple threat, then I'm cool with it.
Oh, yeah. You're just, they're really catering to that St. Charles resident audience. All the WWE, like the Nielsen surveys, must just be your household.
That's right.
They're
That's right.
booking
They know what I like.
specifically for you. Yeah.
Even though I'll watch it on a like on a pirated stream.
Yeah. You're like Peacock's $5. I'm not even paying for that.
No. Actually, that is one of the ones I pay for. Actually,
mine's included with my internet, thankfully. But Tony Storm versus Red Velvet. Not much to talk about here. This was more to build Tony Storm versus Deonna Purrazzo. They had an altercation afterwards because Purrazzo was on commentary. But, not much to speak of here unless you have anything to say.
Nope, not much here. Deonna Purrazzo looks like a star, though, and they're building her up like an actual threat to Tony Storm, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah, she looks better each week. She seemed a little bit out of her element, and granted, she was in a brand new place, new stage. Like, that first week, I wasn't, like, enthralled, but she's really coming into her own here and getting comfortable, so
yeah.
I'm into it. Then we had just the match I never knew I needed. Holy shit. We talk about party matches. This was a party match. This was Blackpool Combat Club, which was the real Blackpool Combat Club, which is Moxley, Danielson, and Claudio. Not a Wheeler unit to be found.
Nope.
And versus,
he was somewhere forging.
Shit. That's what he calls jerking off. But he doesn't like jerk off like a normal person. He just like cups his palm and like presses his dick really hard into it, and that's what does it for him.
Right.
Anyway, I don't know where I heard that, but it fucking cracked me up. It wasn't about Wheeler Yuta. I just appropriated it to bully him. Anyway, but they fought Volador Jr., Hechicero, and Mascara Dorada. And man, I had not seen Hechicero before Saturday. I was glad to see him again. I've seen a lot of Volador Jr. and Mascara Dorada, and they're both awesome. And holy shit, this match, you never knew what the hell was going to happen next. I had no idea. I watched wrestling 10, 12 hours a week for years and years and years, and I had no idea what I was going to see every 10 seconds of this match.
It was really good. Like you said, I mean, this was a fucking party match. There's kind of a story, but not really a story. So this was just a match. I mean, there was no question as to where they were going. They're just building up to a bigger and bigger match, it looks like. But this was awesome.
It was. We had a rematch of a match that I did not see. I did not go out of my way to watch it in, DDT, whenever Jericho went over to Tokyo to wrestle Takeshita. But this was a rematch, and this match was also awesome in a different way. I was like legitimately worried about Jericho in this. I mean, Jericho is like 50, and I mean, we started out early with like a brain buster onto a chair on the outside. And then he does like a goddamn blue thunder bomb off the top rope, which looked like it sucked so bad.
It really did.
Oh my god.
Yeah. The Jericho took a fucking beating in this match. Takeshita, he looks fucking great, but it looks like it hurts. It looks like his stuff hurts. And this was rough. This was a rough one on Jericho.
Yeah, it was a really good match. Then he tapped out to his own finisher, like the old school lion tamer, where they get you up high angle lion tamer.
Yeah,
which Jericho said he basically stopped doing because he can really only do it on little guys, because it's hard to get bigger guys up. And Jericho's not all that little. Takeshita didn't seem like he had a problem. So,
no, he didn't.
Man, what a specimen that Takeshita is. It's amazing. Seriously. Like, his favorite thing is, like, Cinnabon. I feel like Takeshita and I could have, like, a really good, like, day date. Like, just Costco and, like, Cinnabon.
That's good.
These are the things that I dream about.
I hope you get to experience that one day.
Me too. Give him the old double dog with Takeshita. God damn it. Then Tony Khan. This is one of those times where I was hoping for Tony Khan to use his licensed music and to license Flight of the Conchords, It's Business Time. because he
It's
announced
business. It's
it's
business time.
I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say it's time for business, and it's business time. Yeah. Anyway, so good. But yeah, Tony Khan announces that March 13th there will be a show called AEW Big Business, and it will be in Boston. And Boss is BOSSTON, and the S's are dollar signs. And he says this will be not only a historic night for AEW, but it will be an historic night for pro wrestling. So the BOSS is very obviously planting the seed for Mercedes Moné. They did this thing with CM Punk where they announced the date and the show, but they didn't say that he was actually going to be there. And everybody expected him to be there because, like Kenny was wearing like a Cookie Monster shirt.
Yeah.
They did all these like little things. They're doing that with Mercedes, but I feel like with the dollar sign, do you think we're getting Okada also?
Oh, wow. Man, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I guess it could be both of them. That would be pretty fucking wild.
I think just with the fact that he said not just AEW, but wrestling, I think, he's going to do the thing that he did with, remember Daniel Bryan and Adam Cole and how fucking cool that was?
Yeah.
I think we're going to get Mercedes at the beginning because the fans, they'll be like the CM Punk thing where they'll just chant for her the whole time if they don't. And then there's going to be some like angle probably with Jericho because he'll fucking politic us way into it. And there'll be like some Jericho thing, and then we're going to get that fucking coin drop right at the end. Like Okada's going to come out for a save. That coin drop is so perfect.
Yeah. That would be fucking incredible. Yeah.
I think that's, March 13th, that's like, I know that they're called it big business, so that's pretty close to like St. Patrick's Day too. I don't know if that's St. Patrick's Day weekend or the week. If you're doing it in Boston, it's kind of crazy. Anyway, that's going to be huge. That's going to be a big show.
Yes. 5 weeks away?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, just about 5 weeks. So, yeah, time to build. And, man, it's funny because I watched that on just last night. I watched that, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, WWE might be fucking shit up with, like, their hottest shit. There might be fucking things up. I was like, Tony Khan's about to, like, flip the world on its head again because he'll bring these two in. He's getting Ospreay. There's people coming back from injury.
Yeah.
I was like, man, he's really loaded. And then we had today, and I'm like, oh, no, WWE fucking still hot.
Yeah.
But we had Big Bill and Ricky Starks versus Sting and Darby Allin. This is a tornado tag. It was exactly what you thought. It was, one of those crazy Darby Allin and Sting matches. Sting jumped off a balcony. Big Bill went through a table. It was exactly what you thought. And, for a minute, I thought that Sting was going to lose to Starks because I kind of thought that maybe he would put them over in this match because he should not lose his retirement match, or at least I don't think so. So, what's the point? But maybe he will put the Bucks over instead, which is fine. I'm sure he gets to choose whatever he's doing, and that's totally fine with me. But I believe whenever Ricky speared him after he did the Stinger Splash into the exposed turnbuckle, and then Ricky speared him, I was like, oh shit! I was like, he's gonna pin him, and I actually think Sting had a legitimately hard time kicking out because he took like such a bump. I was like, oh my god, he killed him. But really, the angle for this afterwards, it was less about the win, and I don't even really think. I feel like half the crowd was going crazy, and the other half was like, oh man, like they were still into Big Bill and Ricky Starks.
Yeah, I think
it's time.
Yeah, I think Big Bill and Ricky Starks are kind of over, and I think people really wanted them to hold on to the titles. They're having a fun run.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I'm not arguing with that. I actually would not have minded, Starks pinning Sting. I don't think that would have done.
Nah, yeah, that would have been awesome.
But they did not. And afterwards, the Young Bucks, Nicholas and Matthew, came out and they were in white suits and they beat Sting and Darby bloody, and they were just covered in their blood with the white suits. They beat them with white baseball bats. And this was a brilliant angle, and they did not the BTE trigger because BTE is dead. They did the EVP trigger, which is just a little thing that is beautiful. Oh, my God.
Yes, EVP trigger is brilliant. I especially like them beating the shit out of Sting's large adult sons.
I forgot about that.
I like how Sting's large adult sons came into the ring afterwards. You know, they're in their 30s. They're like, "Nice job, Dad." And then they got to take some bumps from Nicholas and Matthew. Brilliant stuff. Looked awesome.
Yeah, they had just got back from the Gap where they bought like 2 sizes too small plain black T-shirts to wear to the wrestling show.
They looked awesome.
It's like, what did they come there wearing like WWE shirts and they had to like give them new shirts? Like, what the fuck were they wearing? Like,
yeah. Cool angle, though. Yeah, looking forward to that match.
Great.
It's going to be a fun one. And that's Sting's last match, right?
That is Sting's last match in Greensboro Coliseum.
Do you think that you'll cry?
I probably won't cry, but I will. It will be emotional. He was like, him and Shawn Michaels were my favorite wrestlers before Stone Cold was like everybody's favorite wrestler, and then it was Stone Cold. But yeah, it was Sting and Shawn Michaels on the 2 sides of the coin, and I never got to see that match. Whenever I was a kid, I was like, because I thought it was real. I'm like, how awesome would it be if they would just in the same company and then they could fight? It'd be so good. But yeah, we never got.
I don't know. I wouldn't. They could do it in Saudi Arabia someday.
Yeah, like 10 years from now, yeah, they can still go.
Right. Okay, that's going to do it for our 2 count.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, so NXT Vengeance Day was this weekend. The big story coming out of this was Zach, Jason, and I all picked Dijak versus Gacy wrong. Gacy lost. So can't believe Dijak actually won the match. But no, that is not the biggest news. The biggest news is that Ilja Dragunov hangs on to his title, goes over Trick Williams, and then we get the big Carmelo Hayes turn angle at the end of the pay-per-view. Zach, what did you think about the match, and what did you think about the angle?
I don't know if I picked any of these matches right. I did really bad.
You had a rough night.
Yeah. The match was really good. I don't know if I like this one or the first one better, but really solid match. The first one, I was like, holy shit, Ilja Dragunov's got that really good match out of Trick Williams. And then this time I'm like, oh, Trick Williams rules. Like he's just way more improved. But yeah.
Still a little sloppy.
Yeah, I mean, he's just got a lot more star power and got a lot more momentum and stuff. But yeah, he is still a little sloppy for sure. Yeah, it makes sense. I thought this could be his big night, but that really would have been too soon. In hindsight, the way they're playing it now is really good because it seems like, now we can have Carmelo maybe take the title from Ilja, or you can just have Carmelo and Trick, be the WrestleMania main event, WrestleMania weekend main event.
I think we might be looking at another triple threat.
Could be. I was thinking maybe Carmelo takes it off of Ilja before then, and then Trick gets his big win over Carmelo. Carmelo goes up, and Trick stays down there as the big dog for a little while.
Yeah, that would be all right. But
it was good.
Yeah, it was good. Match is really good. Ilja Dragunov is the man. Family goes over Out the Mud in a 6-man mixed. I don't have much to say about this. I like Tony D'Angelo a lot, though.
Yeah, I don't know why I picked Out the Mud. I think I was actually pretty baked, and I was like, I just like saying Out the Mud, which was just a fucking stupid thing to do.
Obafemi goes over Dragon Lee. That was Zach and I's Stone Cold Lead Pipe Lock of the Week. Obafemi, I think that's like his 7th television match or something. He's got a great look, and looks like he's got a lot of upside.
He absolutely does. And, it's hard to have a bad match with Dragon Lee, but he does for big guys that have come through their system. A lot of them really are not that good, and he seems like he has a lot of promise. And putting that title on him, good to kind of sink or swim situation. And right now he is swimming.
Yep. Lyra Valkyra, I think I'm saying that right, goes over Roxanne Perez. We all had that picked. What you think about this match? I thought this match was really good.
Yeah, I was not whenever this was on, I wasn't able to tune in to it fully, but from what I saw, they were working real hard, and I was into it. I didn't even get to see the finish of it. I knew what happened, but I just missed out. I was busy.
And you picked this one wrong too, and I'm not trying to rub it in. Just Jason and I picked it right. The Wolf Dogs go over Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams in the opener. This really didn't tell me anything about what was going to happen later on in the night, so I was still way into the main event, and sometimes they can fuck stuff like that up. I thought that this was awesome. I love the fucking Wolf Dogs. Wolf Dogs, Mark.
Yeah, it's funny. The first half of this match, I was not into it as much. Like there was some sloppy stuff and
it was sloppy.
I like the Wolf Dogs more than I care to admit. But by the end of it, I was very into it.
Yes, so they are they won the Dusty Cup, and they are going, it looks like they're going to wrestle the family coming up soon. That happened on NXT, so I don't know what they're doing. I can't see the Wolf Dogs winning because it seems like Bron's on his way up, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Same. This seems kind of weird. Maybe that'll be the job that he does on his way up instead of doing a job for, in the title picture.
That would be a pretty good win for the family.
Yeah, absolutely. That Dijak Joe Gacy match. It's so funny. Joe Gacy wrestled CZW for 12 years, and they only now decided after many, many terrible gimmicks in NXT 2.0 to put him in a hardcore match, and it was really good.
Yeah, I really don't know what they're doing with Dijak. He should be at the top of the card all the time. He should not be wrestling Joe Gacy.
Seems like he should have just been called up a while ago. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know. Because they could use a guy like him, even if he's not winning. He could, be wrestling on main event or I don't know.
Yeah, he's got the look, man.
And he's got experience. He doesn't need to work. He doesn't need to work on things. Maybe they see maybe there's stuff that they see that he needs to work on, or maybe they're working on his attitude. I don't know what he is as a person or whatever. His whenever I was on Twitter, he was always pretty entertaining, but I haven't been on there in a while. But yeah. Anyway,
grade the pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view overall, I'd say it was a solid B.
Yeah, it was a B minus. It was pretty good. The main event delivered, and that's always the most important thing.
Also very digestible. I'm really into the 3-hour shows. That's awesome.
Big time. That's gonna do it for our 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
Just some odds and ends here. We are getting DIY versus Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne in a number 1 contenders match. I think that's on SmackDown tomorrow night. That's cool. I'm picking Bate and Dunne. Who you got?
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I mean, they're doing something, especially with Pete Dunne. So, unfortunately, they're not doing anything with DIY, even though we all know how good those guys are.
Pete Dunne fucking rules. We're getting a Gunther Jey Uso feud for the Intercontinental Championship. What do you think about this? And is there any chance that Jey takes it off of him?
I actually think there's a good chance that he does. And I didn't think about this until they teased it, and I was like, that would be. I mean, Jey Uso doesn't need a huge rub, but as far as a singles career, if they're gonna go that trajectory, and he's wrestled for he's made him in Jey Uso. He's wrestled for the heavyweight belt before, but he's never really held a singles title. So something like that. I feel like he's a little. I would rather than give that rub to somebody who has a lot of promise and who is less established, a Bron Breakker or even like a Pete Dunne or like a Tyler Bate or like one of those guys. But I'd say there's a solid, I'd go 50-50 on it. Even odds that he takes it off of him.
Yeah, if he takes it off him, it's not perfect, but it ain't bad either. Like,
No.
I could see he'd be a perfect IC champion, and it would really, like, it would continue, like, yeah, you'd love to see a guy like Pete Dunne, but if Gunther's going to hold it for that long and then Jey Uso's taking it off him, it really makes it look pretty big. Makes it look like a pretty big title.
Yeah, because, I mean, Jey Uso's been in main event angles for the last 2-3 years.
Exactly. Like, building it up and then giving it to another up-and-coming guy, maybe they just want to, like, establish it with more than one guy. You know what I mean? So I would be completely cool with it. We talked about all the main event stuff. We didn't talk about McIntyre coming in and busting up Cody after Cody and Shinsuke Nakamura have their bull rope match. Are we getting Cody versus McIntyre at Elimination Chamber?
That could be. Yeah, it seems like I never thought about it for a pay-per-view. I was just kind of thinking that that would be like the feud on Raw, to kind of get us through to WrestleMania, like the next handful of weeks or whatever.
Right. Let me see.
I feel like wouldn't Drew be in the chamber match?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose they could both be in the chamber match. I mean, would Cody be in the chamber match? That would be kind of weird.
Nah, he already won the Rumble.
Yeah. So
Besides, he's going to be in a tag with Seth Rollins and The Rock and Roman Reigns.
I wonder if we broke that news. I think we gotta claim that because I think it's on. You know what? Not a whole lot. Anything else that you want to touch on from WWE proper?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's really top heavy right now. But that doesn't matter because the top is great. Oh, we did have there was Bailey finally getting turned on turning on.
Poor Bailey.
Yeah, so
poor Bailey. We almost forgot about her.
I know. And isn't that the whole story of like Bailey right now? Like she gets left off the WrestleMania posters. Like Bianca Belair doesn't even have a match, and she did not win the Royal Rumble, but she's like on all the WrestleMania posters.
Poor Bailey. This was a really good segment too.
It was, and
although I'm not sure if her learning Japanese and being like, I know what you guys have been saying, but like 15 minutes prior when they showed them backstage, she heard what they were saying and they were talking in English. So it's like she heard the most like incriminating thing in English. Like you didn't have to learn Japanese. They were gonna fuck up eventually.
I just want to see so I just imagine there's some like celebrity Wheel of Fortune where it says like Bailey and then equal sign and then it's blank blank GGER and there's like there's like Bruce Pritchard's just sweating his ass off. And he's like, I'd like to solve the puzzle, but I don't want to say it.
Bailey, so it's going to be Bailey versus EO. What do you think about Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain being called the Final Testament?
Oh yeah, they came out for like a match that like never happened. It was just like a brawl, and they're like, okay, well I guess we're not doing the match. Isn't the whole point of wrestling is sanctioned fighting?
Right.
Like, so like they get into a little scuffle beforehand. Like, okay, guys, you can't do this. Like, oh, let's ring the fucking bell.
You know who I predict is going to be really into the Final Testament? Steve.
Oh yeah,
Steve, if you're still listening an hour and 18 minutes into it or whatever, I bet you're real into the Final Testament.
Absolutely, that is. You are 100% right. But yeah, I mean, those guys. It's funny because like Authors of Pain have been like signed for a long time. Like Triple H signed them a while back. I feel like he's like, I gotta get these guys on TV, or like TKO's just gonna cut them. Like,
yes.
Like, what are these guys doing?
Right. Right.
but at least they're on TV. I've never been a big Karrion Kross guy. He's just fine, but Authors of Pain, they're very good. That kind of modern Road Warriors gimmick where they just like run over everybody, the big tough dudes. I like them a lot, and I think that enhances. The Karrion Kross act more than Scarlett, and she does a good job. But yeah, it's fine. I think that's better than I like Lashley and Street Profits, but like Street Profits were way hotter when they were just babyface party guys.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with them, except maybe Montez is busy.
Yeah, remember when Montez would be like, we should be talking about Montez taking the IC title off of Gunther, but hasn't even like, where's his, singles thing? He's just been kind of languishing.
Yes. Oh, yeah, for sure. And Dawkins is cool, too.
He's a great wrestler. No shade at Dawkins.
He's not a Marty Jannetty.
Nope, he is not.
Poor
he did not kill that man behind that bowling alley.
Man from Ringside.
We got some birthdays this week. The Big Show, 52. That's it. Only 52. Do you think Big Show had more than 52 face heel turns in his career?
I think he might have had 52 weeks in a year, so that was probably happened in 2007.
I mean, he probably had 52 heel face turns. That's actually that's a pretty good question, actually. Classy Freddie Blassie would have been 106. Jim the Anvil Neidhart, R.I.P., would have been 68. Sensational Sherry, R.I.P., 66. Ishimori is 41. Ken Shamrock, still hanging on. Good for you, Ken Shamrock. I hope you're thriving somewhere. He's still alive, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
60 years old. Akeem, the one-man gang. He 64. Tommy Dreamer is 53, and Viscera, one of this podcast's favorites, R.I.P. It would have been 52.
Is Viscera Mabel?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. We know there's tons of podcasts let's do, so we appreciate you guys listening to our podcast. For Bo, for Tinder Mahal, for Lucha Chris, for Murray the Murray Man Murray, for who else did I forget? Jason Cornelius. Well, I was going to get to him. Jason Cornelius Bell. We'll see you next week, JCB. For Two Beers, Zach Pullman, I'm Bill Veggie. Black Lives Matter. Support your local weed dealers. Support your local restaurants. Call your parents, and never ever forget to boo the heels.